this song always comes back to me because for whatever reason, it has gotten placed on General Hospital a bajillion times. And I kind of
Nice.
have this theory that I think the music supervisors there, I think they used it for a while as almost like a like Easter egg theme when it was these two characters. Cause I'm not up on my General Hospital, but I've
Been a
tried to
minute
catch
for
a
me.
couple. Yeah, but I've tried to catch a couple of the episodes and it was always with like one of the guys who was a bartender and then like his love interest gal that they were on and off with. And it's just like this song is always in the background of that, which I kind of love. Cause this is
That's
another,
awesome.
it's a sincere love song, but it's also like, you know something is a real strong love when you can also recognize like that person can also drive you fucking nuts.
Welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party, your weekly musical happy hour where musicians pick an album from their back catalog and tell the stories behind their favorite tracks in front of a live online audience.
This week we talk with indie singer, songwriter, and fiddler Jillian Rae. We revisit her 2013 debut album Heartbeat, geek out about effects pedals and production, and talk about learning history from Johnny Horton songs. So pour a beverage, grab a snack, and kick back as we listen to music together here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, where it's always Friday and old albums never sounded better.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us from her home in South Minneapolis, Jillian Rae.
Hello. Oh, I love the applause.
Well, what musician doesn't? We all love the applause. And we also love an audience. And we're so excited to welcome folks to the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you're new to the show, this is the show where we invite different guest artists to revisit old records with us. We have a drink, hang out, get to listen to music together. And joining us, we have Joe riding the stream from Minneapolis with a Surly Furious for the journey. Great
Hey,
beer.
Joe.
Great local brew. Alinda Stanley from saying happy Friday from New Haven, Connecticut, and Connie from Richfield, and Christopher back in the USA and hanging with the Back Catalog Listening Party. It's been a while. It has been a while. We missed you, Christopher.
Yeah, great to have you back, Chris.
And if you're out there listening, tell us where you are tuned in from, if you're enjoying a beverage or a snack to kick off your weekend and enjoy this happy hour with us. And Jillian, our special guest for tonight, are you enjoying any kind of beverage tonight?
Well, if you saw in the intro, my honey bunny was like just grabbing something to concoct a drink with out of the bar behind me. So I don't know. Something's happening on the other side of the table. I currently have my new favorite LaCroix flavor, which is beach plum, which was new to me.
What makes it beach? I hope not sand.
Honestly, no hints of sand so far. I don't know, probably just the package design, but it's a yummy one.
Nice.
And Tony, are you enjoying some kind of beverage?
I am. I'm trying something new. I'm trying also from Surly Brewing in right here in the Twin Cities. Outlook Good. It's a NA hoppy ale. And it's nice and light and refreshing, and it looks great in my Back Catalog Listening Party pint glass.
Oh, nice.
All right.
How about you, Ellen?
I am enjoying a classic because we're having these last dregs of summer. So I'm keeping the G&T going, having a gin and tonic. That's
Excellent.
my favorite summer.
Well, cheers to you. Cheers to you, Jillian.
Cheers.
And cheers to all of you out there. We're so happy that you're here and part of our party. It's favorite hour of the whole week.
And we are so excited to have Jillian Rae on the show. And Jillian Rae was one of our very early guests on the show. And we were so excited to have her back because she has more back catalog that we are excited to explore. And today, I'm so excited you picked this one, Jillian. This is your debut record, which we are going to enjoy today. Came out in 2013.
December. Okay. So I realize now I probably should have just pushed it to 2014. But yeah, that's when she came out, going all the way back to the catalog.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. So we're excited to revisit that record with you. But for folks who maybe aren't as familiar with your music as we are, maybe you could give a brief origin story, 2-minute bio of, where you grew up, how you fell into making music, and in particular, what led to your first record.
Yeah. Oh man, it's always so hard. I'm a rambler, so apologies in advance. But
Ramble away.
I grew up in a small town in northern Minnesota, on the Iron Range, Eveleth, Minnesota. And I started taking Suzuki violin lessons at a young age, and I've kind of just music has been my first love, violin in particular, um, since I was a little kid. So I kind of went through the motions of just doing as much music and performing as a kid as I could. Then I and got my music degree and did that whole classical thing. And then I immediately, after graduating college, started playing in bluegrass bands because that makes perfect sense. So I was the sideman player in quite a few kind of like Americana, bluegrass, newgrass. I don't know. I don't know what we call all these different genres these days. But I've also I love singing, and I had been songwriting for a long time, but never had the courage to put my own stuff out there. So really, my first record came about after just like playing and being involved in so many bands and making so many records with collaborators that I finally was like, I think I have enough songs to string together that I think are good enough to show other people. And that's really like, I wish that I had a much more clever conceptualized story behind Heartbeat, but it truly was like my very first baby songs that I had written. And then it just turned out the overarching theme, Heartbeat is the title track. And they're definitely all songs of and around the heart. But if you'll listen in here today, I'm not the best, I don't think I'm the best sappy, sentimental love songwriter there is in the world. A lot of my love songs are like on the other spectrum of like maybe the more painful parts of love and or with like quite a bit of snark behind them
Nice.
oftentimes. So Heartbeat is the one song that's like a true sultry love song. And then the rest just kind of like move around and devolve from there.
Well, we are
Awesome.
actually going to kick things off with that title track. But
Oh,
before we
okay.
do, I just want to mention that Joe said he first saw the Heartbeat video after your first appearance here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. And he said, funny, hilarious, holds up through the years. So we'll
Thank
make
you.
sure we put a link to that video as well in
good
the show
one.
notes. So if you ever are looking for that, go to backcataloglisteningparty.com or just go to Jillian Rae's YouTube channel because there's lots of great videos.
I
Yeah.
love
up
a
there.
music video. Yeah.
We're going to talk more about that. Yeah.
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 Jillian, can I ask? So you were mentioning this kind of journey from the Iron Range down. Was
Mhm.
school on the way down? Were you were you like now you're located here in Minneapolis?
Mhm.
When this record was being written and recorded and stuff, had you made the move down here then?
Yeah, so I mean, I went from the range I went to school in St. Cloud, Minnesota, which for me that was like a huge city. Like
Right.
I'm moving to the big city of St. Cloud.
And you moved south.
Yeah, it is south. So then I went from there to Duluth, and I actually got my start in playing in original music bands in Duluth, Minnesota, which is closer to where I grew up. Actually, I'm just about an hour north of Duluth, is where I was born and raised. So it was there that I started, making original fiddle parts and doing backing vocals and playing and touring with bands. But I would say definitely from there, I moved to Minneapolis. And it wasn't until I had been living here for quite a while that I really started, like, I would toy around with melodies, or I've always been a big journaler and just like writer of like, small essays, short stories, whatever. But I never really started formulating anything into songs until, probably like my mid 20s,
Okay.
of my
Cool.
own songs. So, yeah. Sounded like a chicken clucking back there. What was that?
Oh, that was just my children.
Oh, children, chicken.
Yeah. They've been called worse.
Well, we're going to take a listen to this title track, Heartbeat, which is the first track you picked to feature on the show tonight. You mentioned a little bit about it. Is there anything else you want to say about it before we take a listen?
Well, yeah, I'm really proud of the music video. I've always been an MTV watcher, like since birth, really. So, making music videos is just like a part of the art of making music. So the video that goes along with that is really fun. And, my husband, partner in all things, is also my lead guitar player in the band. So, he is also in the video. The song is about him. And when we first met, really, and it's super funny because he absolutely did not want to play the heartthrob in the video. So we got our prettiest friend that we knew in real life, Preston Gunderson, to do that. So you see equal parts acting with a heartthrob in that, and then me actually playing music with my husband, who I actually wrote the song about. So,
all right. Well, we'll look forward to watching the video, but now we're going to listen to the audio.
Imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah. So close your eyes and listen to Heartbeat from Jillian Rae here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Ooh, I got it bad, I got it so bad for you. All you have to do is walk into the room and I can feel my heartbeat. My body feels your eyes with a tingle in my spine. And when you speak my name, I feel hypnotized. All because my heartbeat is running wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Wow, Jillian Rae with Heartbeat, and you could hear that heartbeat getting faster and slower at various points throughout the
That was a
song.
journey. That was a
Such
journey.
a journey. I haven't listened to the recording in such a long time. It's wow. Fun
So
to
what are your
revisit.
what are your
Yeah, what are
first
your thoughts?
thoughts? Yeah.
Oh, it's just like we perform it differently now. Like the slowdown part gets faster, quicker. Some of that kind of Eastern European sounding stuff I elongate it on stage now these days. It's just like licks that I in my mind I feel like I thought it was how I played it on the record. No, totally different.
It's evolved.
So much fun though to listen back. Like this is the first record I ever made. I feel like, wow, it sounds good.
It
does.
sounds
You know,
really
like
good.
we usually don't think that about our own stuff, I know, but it's like, wow, for my first record, I'm pretty proud of that, dude. That sounds
Yeah.
great. That Wurlitzer like came out
Oh,
perfect in the mix.
I
Josie
was
Jess.
I was just going to ask about some of the personnel because, yeah, the keyboards to me, I mean, of course, I started making notes and then it ended up being pretty much every instrument. I was like keys, and then I was like guitar, and then I was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
fiddle solo, and so it was kind of everything. And your singing is no joke on this track. Like
Yeah, you're
Oh,
bringing
I
thanks.
it.
really love that. Yeah, it really helps take you on that journey quite a bit, and I can see how this couldn't not be a video. Like, I feel like it's so
Right? It's
cinematic. I mean, the music
cinematic.
itself,
Yeah.
not just the lyrical part,
Yeah,
but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, the journey for sure. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much see a music video in my head though to most every song. We
does
like
that happen
work
when
up
you
to the
write it?
recording.
Does that happen when you write it, or is that more of a like as you are recording, you kind of are building that
I feel like
space?
sometimes because I can say right now, as I'm kind of in the middle of working on my next record project, I have a song that I haven't even started recording with the band yet that I totally have the whole music video in my head. And it's like, oh God, how do I even start to write this out? Because it's almost worse when you very much know what you want it to be. Because then you have to try to put it into words and explain it to people and get it, executed, you know?
Yeah.
But
Mm.
yes, so I guess sometimes I think once when you're recording, which I know you both know, from the many album projects you guys have worked on, by the time a record is released, you have not only played and rehearsed, but you've listened to these songs thousands of times.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So by the end of making a record, I feel like it's just natural that you start kind of seeing the mini movies in your head, or that's how it works for me anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds great, and I love that. Yeah, the sort of the tempo change and that part with the Eastern European kind of Romany vibe,
Mhm.
fiddle playing. And I was curious, is
Thank
that
you.
something that was part of your when you started playing more in um, sort of more non-classical music formats? Did you play any Eastern European music, or like how did that sneak in?
Yeah, actually, well, I guess part of my lore and background that I didn't mention before. So I started playing violin when I was 7, taking lessons, and it just so happened I'm so lucky because I'm from such a like small town area in northern Minnesota that it just seems like wow, the stars really aligned. The teacher that I took from had this group of kind of like handpicked students called the Singing Strings. So I went on my first tour when I was like 9.
Mm.
She was a Finnish lady, Helena Pakala. I hope she's retired by now because she deserves it. But I know that she was still doing the string thing and teaching violin in the metro area, at least since I've lived here. But so I toured around and I learned a lot of Finnish and Scandinavian folk, like at a young age, American fiddle. We had a classical set. And then back then, I mean, I know it's wrong terminology, but in all of these musical sets, there was the music, there was song and dance and costume changes, and there was the
Mm.
gypsy set, is what it was called then. I think it would probably be more proper to call it Romani at this point, or even Eastern European, but we would play songs like the Chartas by Monty and like the Bee by
Mm.
Schubert, and just like things that had that more like you want an accordion to be happening with it, you know?
Did I hear a little accordion in
I
there?
was wondering
There
about
is,
that too.
I thought you
yeah.
did.
There's a little accordion hidden in that
I
track
thought
just
so.
for that breakdown part. Yeah.
And I
Nice.
thought I heard it at the end too, like it's just a little.
Yeah, I think
couple
it
notes
just
at the end.
stayed when it came into like that slow stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my childhood coming out for sure.
That's amazing.
Excellent.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about who was performing on this record?
Yeah. Well, so Josie Just did the keys. So in that track, it was definitely Wurlitzer, but I know there's some songs that she played like piano, like the Baby Grand at the studio. So all the keys parts are Josie Just. Jim O'Neill played some organ on a couple tracks, which I think we might hear one of those, like a Hammond B3
Ooh.
situation. My partner, husband, Eric Martin, played guitar. Kevin Rao was on bass, which I hope you all know Kevin. He's incredible.
One of the best anywhere.
Seriously, one of the best and just one of the sweetest guys. And, he's so versatile in both electric bass and upright. So he even did some like bowed classical sounding string bass on a few tracks. And then Mark O'Day was playing drums with me. That was basically the like core first lineup of when I started my own band. So those were like my OG players. So we worked until we had enough songs to put a record together with. And then we had a ton of guests, like on that track, Trevor Hartman, he's a local guy in the Twin Cities. He played accordion. Adam Kiesling's playing banjo on a song or two.
Nice.
Andy Lambert's clogging and doing washboard on a song or two.
Excellent.
Dan Neal, the amazing guitarist Dan Neal, he's definitely doing some amazing lead electric guitar stuff. I believe on one of the songs that's on the list. So I just tried to bring in like who are people that I love and admire and like love to play with. And if I'm hearing like that song needs Dan Neal guitar, I just was lucky enough that everybody I asked said like, sure, I'll come play on your album.
The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Supporting the show with small and large donations every month, this committed group of music lovers keep the party going and enjoy special perks like getting first look at our upcoming guests and invitations to private after parties and live stream performances with the artists. If you'd like to learn how you can become a patron of the show, please visit patreon.com/backcatalog-listening-party.
Well, again, sounds great. What a way to kick off the show today. If you are joining us for the Back Catalog Listening Party, tell us where you're tuned in from. If you have any questions for Jillian, throw them in the comments. And again, we have shared a link to the music video. It's also in the show notes. If you go to backcatalog-listening-party.com, and we can all rewatch that later and look for that, how they translate the music into cinema on that track. But the next track you picked to feature on the show tonight, Jillian, is Helpless. Is there anything you want to tell us about this song?
It was kind of by mistake because, like I said, we planned this so last minute. I know I'm jumping in place of Carrie tonight, but Heartbeat is the first song on the record and Helpless is actually the last. So it's kind of like you journey through. So it's kind of interesting hearing it back to back. This is definitely more rock and roll. I am playing violin on this as well, but it's more like into like distortion and fuzz, and I'm kind of playing it more like a Led Zeppelin kind of thing. Yeah, and there's definitely some Jim O'Neill organ on this one. I think in my mind, I just wanted to like get my like Led Zeppelin, Lenny Kravitz loving. Like I wanted this one to be like gritty and like rock and roll. So that's how I ended the record.
Excellent. I can't wait to give it a spin. All right, everybody, strap in. This is Helpless from Jillian Rae on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
There you go again, keeping me waiting. String me along. Oh, you drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jillian Rae with Helpless. I don't know. You don't sound too helpless on that song.
No, I can hear the Zeppelin in
oh,
that one. Holy
Gotta get
cow.
the rock out,
Yeah,
man.
that sounded great.
Yeah.
that's a banger for to close the record. That's amazing. Chris says
Thanks.
rock on, and that's definitely had the devil horns
Yeah.
happening. Um,
Oh my
yeah,
God, so
so
fun.
good. So I loved that. I mean, you mentioned that your fiddle, your violin had all kinds of distortion and different stuff happening on there. And there were parts where I'm like, oh, that must be the guitar. And I was like, wait, no, it's not. And I have to say that doesn't happen very often where you get the like a violin or a fiddle confused with a guitar because they have, kind of
Right.
different tones. But
Well, and honestly, when I'm listening back, I'm even questioning. I know that it's on there, but when we don't play this live anymore, which I am after listening now, I'm like,
do it.
why is that not in the set list to close every show? I miss that song. But I pluck with fuzz throughout the whole bum, bum, bum. And then I do the bowed with
Mhm.
more fuzz on the other stuff. And I'm like, realizing that must have developed later after this record was released because I didn't hear any of the things that I would have done live. So I think the violin I'm doing on this track is actually very minimal to what you would see at a live show. And thanks to you guys, I'm making my band relearn this song as of right now. Like,
You're
I
welcome.
really feel pumped. I want to add this one to the set list.
You
I
should. It
love
sounds
that.
great. And kind of speaking
Thanks.
of those tones, I see your partner who's on the couch in the living
I
room.
know. I
Hey,
almost spit
Eric,
out
if
my
you're
drink.
listening,
And that's, yeah.
I want to say that, like, the tones that are coming out of his guitar and your
Mhm.
violin and stuff are really like characters in the story too. And I'm
Mm.
just curious, like how much time and effort do you put into kind of dialing in the right tones, or do you just kind of just wing it and see what happens? Like, where do those sounds come from? Because in the acoustic world, I know, you spend a lot of time and money on your instruments and you get it all in your
Mhm.
right hand and your left hands, or where the tone comes from. But in this kind of electronic world, you have pretty much, you can do it whatever you want. What is the process of picking these sounds?
Oh man, that is such a good question. I think you could almost describe it the same way as what you just described, like as a classical player and as like a fiddle and like Americana player. Like, yeah, it is about your instrument and it's about all the millions of hours of practice because like your distortion, like you're just doing it all just with different technique, like with your bow, let's say. But there is a lot. We have 100 million effect pedals between Eric and me. Really, they're made for the guitar, but what I do is I use guitar effect pedals and I plug my violin into them. So it is a lot of trial and error because there are a lot of sounds that I'll be like, I want this sound. I'll, go to some stores and try stuff out. I'll research. Eric is just such an endless well of knowledge with anything like music gear and like audio world of music savvy. So he might know exactly like, oh, this is the sound you're looking for, but it might not work on the violin. You know what I mean? It's not like built for this instrument. So it is really, I've had to do a lot of side by siding and trial and error to see like which distortion pedals work for violin or my violin maybe and which don't, like which reverbs and delays. Like it's all very it's dependent on the pedal for sure. You can't just be like, I'm going to get a reverb pedal and just anyone you get is going to
Yeah.
work on this instrument. So it is kind of like, I think the effects is sort of almost like its own instrument. You have to treat it as its own thing.
And you had the vision ahead of time. I think that's probably really important too. Like you had a sound in mind that you wanted to recreate, and you just kind of find the right tools to do that. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds amazing. And
Thanks.
yeah, I was thinking that you were mentioned Led Zeppelin and Lenny Kravitz before we started playing that song. And I feel like I want to know, like, obviously you were raised playing classical music. You started learning kind of bluegrass and some roots stuff after that and learning some folk stuff with that teacher you were talking about. But you had the MTV, the Led Zeppelin, the Lenny Kravitz. Was that the music you were listening to when you were growing up? Or, what was in sort of the mix in your household growing up?
Oh man, it's like such an eclectic I was very recently, I'm like diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. And now looking back, it's like, oh, I just lived a musical obsessed ADHD child brain. So I come from a divorced family. So my parents divorced when I was 5. And, they lived in the same town. I lived with mom, could go to dad's anytime, dad's on the weekends, whatever. So it was very much, obviously, like mom's record collection was very um, also very versatile. Like, I got all my Fleetwood Mac training from my mother for sure. Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, Johnny Horton. I listened to a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of Johnny Horton growing up, and that's how I passed all of my middle school, junior high school history tests, actually.
He's got a lot
Just
of
such a
dates
weird,
in his
diverse. Yeah, exactly. Lots of
music.
dates and names. And then at dad's, like my dad was just like, big into, he's a big Eric Clapton guy. My dad is like a play guitar at home for fun guy. And he like, just for like a self-taught like home player, he was pretty good. So I listened to a lot of Cream and Jimi Hendrix and tons of Zeppelin, the Beatles. I mean, Beatles is, of course, that was both households, but so I had a lot of music that I loved, and it was really hard for me to figure out. Like, I tried teaching myself guitar. Well, not tried, I did after playing the violin for a few years, because in my mind it was like, well, these Hendrix songs that I like, I need to learn them on the guitar. So I did. I figured them out, whatever. And then, I'm working on my classical stuff, my country stuff, whatever, on the violin. And it wasn't until high school that I realized, like, wait a second, I can play all this stuff on my violin and it would be so much easier because that's like my instrument. So that's when that rabbit hole, like, I don't know why I just compartmentalized, like, this is guitar. These songs are guitar. This song, I wanted to learn bass. So I ended up picking up bass for a while. And it's like, oh yeah, I can pluck bass lines on my violin with an effect pedal. Like, that works too. So
Nice.
it took me in my like underdeveloped brain, I think, to like get myself to that realization that, especially with the advent of electronic, plug-in instruments and effects, it's like anything can be done on
Yeah.
this violin of mine. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And speaking of sort of all the eclectic stuff that goes into your music, Chris was wondering, do you put your band in a genre, or is it organic and just play what fits at the time? Because yeah,
Mm,
your albums all have kind of a different feel. Like the other album
yeah.
we revisited on this show a few years back was Wanderlust, which is much more Americana rootsy kind of
Yeah.
vibe. And so yeah, how do you what do you call yourself?
Honestly, I've been calling myself genre fluid for quite some time because, like, asking me to pick one genre is like asking me to eat the same food every day for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. I have such a love and appreciation, not only as a listener, but as a player for so many things. So, my band, I'm just so lucky. I have a really amazing and talented and supportive group. Like, they're my brothers, they're my siblings. So if I'm gonna like bring a banger, like a rock and roll one to the table, they're just down. Like, they will do what serves the song. If I wrote a super, super honky tonk country song a couple years back that we started to record but didn't finish because it just doesn't like fit with a collection as of yet. So stay tuned. That'll come out
Yeah.
probably sometime. But, then it's like, okay, they all switch to honky tonk country mode. And, they're kind of just game to be on this ride with me because I don't always know what I'm going to write. Like, things that come out of me are like very rarely planned. It's
Mhm.
just what the mood is or what's marinating on that day.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like you can also keep up your chops in all these different genres too, because you play with so many other bands in addition
Mm,
to what you do with your own solo stuff. With a bunch of folks who've actually been on the show, like Okie Dokie Brothers, and you started off with the Brass Kings, obviously with Adam Kiesling and Corpse
yeah.
Survivor, and which is really trad folk. So, I mean,
Hmm.
like you've kind of playing all these different genres all the time, which kind of probably is fun to do that because it gives you other outlets.
I love it. I love being a chameleon because, like I said, if I were to only be doing the one thing, I don't think I would last, because then I would just start craving like what's on the other side of the road, what's on the other side of this door. You know what I mean? And that would go the same if I was just doing the more like alternative heavy rock stuff. I would be like, I need to do some hillbilly music right now. Like it's just all, I think we all have a lot of different parts that like, the
Is there any
fabric of who we are.
Is there any frontiers that you have yet to enter? Any styles that you've wanted to dabble in but haven't yet?
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I haven't. I don't want to give too much away.
Ooh,
I have some really cool
Scoops.
stuff coming up on
Come
my
on, just
next
between
record.
us, you know?
Yeah, nobody's.
Well, okay, I will say, so this isn't related to that, but in college and like in my late high school and into college, I sang a lot of jazz. And I do really miss that. I do miss that, like, and just, the way that we improvise with our instruments, like the way that you can scat and improvise with just your voice to make a solo. That was really fun. And it's something I haven't done in a really long time. So maybe someday I'll find the outlet and the means to revisit that. Like hip hop, I'd love to do more with like hip hop and R&B. Like I love singing a hook. I think I write a lot of hooks in my own music, but it doesn't materialize into that sort of thing. So like if anybody needs a hype man or like a, like I could be your, I can't change. Even if, I would love to do that.
Backup singer.
We're
Yeah.
putting it out in the universe now, folks.
Yeah, the hook. I will be is it Mary Lambert? Yeah, I'll be your Mary Lambert.
That's awesome.
Love that. Joe and Chris chiming in. Joe chiming in with Johnny Horton. He might have been one of the very few folks who started a hit song with a banjo. Well, we appreciate that, Joe. So
we love a banjo in this bunch.
We do love a good banjo here at the Back Catalog Listening Party. But we also love hearing as much music as we can. And I want to hear more tracks from this record because this is just awesome. And this was my introduction. Well, it wasn't my introduction to your playing, Jillian, because I think I first heard you with the Brass Kings, but this was my first introduction to your solo stuff when I got this record, and I haven't heard it in a while, so this has been so much fun.
Which one? I'm so curious.
Well, right now we're going to hear the song "Love Me Anyway." So this is one that you picked, and what do you want to tell us? Do you want to say anything about it before we take a listen?
Sure. Okay. The reason why, and again, I just picked these songs, really this afternoon. So just what came to the top of my mind. I have wanted to try to re-record this over the years so many times, and it just hasn't materialized. I really love this track. And I'd love to kind of do something different with it and like have it live on again, like in another remix or another version, So that's always on my mind. And the reason why this song always comes back to me, because for whatever reason, it has gotten placed on General Hospital a bajillion times. And I kind of have this theory that I think the music supervisors there, I think they used it for a while as almost like a like Easter egg theme when it was these two characters. Cause I'm not up on my General Hospital, but I've tried to catch a couple. Yeah, but I've tried to catch a couple of the episodes, and it was always with like one of the guys who was a bartender and then like his love interest gal that they were on and off with. And it's just like this song is always in the background of that, which I kind of love. Cause this is awesome. It's a sincere love song, but it's also like, something is a real strong love when you can also recognize like that person can also drive you fucking nuts. So it's just like equal parts. Like I recognize like even when, I love you anyway. And you love me anyway, when I'm driving you nuts, So
awesome. Well, let's give it a spin. This is Love Me Anyway by Jillian Rae here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Say So I wanna thank you for hanging around. And even when I hate you, you keep my feet on the ground. And when I push you away, you love me
All right. Jillian
Yeah.
Rae getting pretty soulful and sultry on
Mhm.
that. Jillian Rae with Love Me Anyway from her 2013 album Heartbeat. And I have to say, it's sounding great here on these headphones. But I
Mhm.
have to say, I know it does sound even better when you get the high audio tracks, whether if you buy the CD from Jillian or download the high fidelity audio. But even better, I know that you released a special 10th anniversary vinyl version of this album
Mm.
this past year.
Sure did, yeah.
And I have not heard it on vinyl, but I'm itching to do so. And I hear you still have a few copies left, right?
I do. I did a very small limited pressing. So we started that off with pre-orders. So they were sent out last year at the anniversary. And truly, I haven't played a ton of shows in between now and then. So I have definitely sold some copies, but I know we have copies left. So if you are interested hearing these songs after all this time, when we listened to the vinyl for the first time, did kind of like blow my mind a little bit. Because at this point, I didn't even dream that I would ever be able to release any of my music on vinyl. And now with this special anniversary pressing, now all of my records are officially pressed to vinyl. So pretty
Nice.
cool.
So
Yeah.
that means if any of you want to fire up that turntable, you could just buy the whole Jillian Rae collection at
The collection, baby.
jillianraymusic.com. And maybe she might even throw a signature on it. Who knows?
Oh, heck yeah.
Possibility.
Perhaps
Yeah.
a sticker or two,
Look at that.
Tell me what you like. I'll send it.
jillianraymusic.com. That's also where you can find tour dates. And when you go there, you'll also find out she has a new single. And by the time this podcast episode airs, a new video for it as well.
Woo.
Anything you want to say about Silence, the new tune?
Oh man, all I can really say, because there's just so much, I do think it's the best piece of music I've made so far. It's the best production. It's the best thing I've ever done. I kind of can't believe we pulled it off, but we did. And now you can hear it. And this video is going to be, I made the whole video in this room right over there. It was supposed to be a really high scale, heavy, big production, and the whole thing just fell apart. So after kind of like the grief of the loss of what the video was going to be, it all ended up being for the best. And we filmed it right around my birthday. Just like, hey, let's just try. We have all this video equipment. Let's just see if we can make a real bare bones video. So it's actually also in the room that I wrote the song. So it just feels really cool and full circle and simple to counter how complex the song is. There's probably more layers of tracking on that song than anything else I've ever done also.
Yeah, I've heard this song because it's out now as a single and available in all the places. And yeah, Jillian's not joking. There's a lot of musical layers. I don't know how many tracks you ended up having going on this. I mean, just for the vocals and some of that alone, I would imagine there's
Eric
a lot.
probably knows. He's listening on the couch, like looking at me right
Well,
now.
Eric, if you want to chime in the
Yeah.
comments, you can do that and tell us if you
Yeah.
have an estimate of how many tracks went
How many
into that.
tracks?
And I should also mention that you've been busy not only with working on releasing, obviously, this new music. You're working on a new record. You continue to tour with your own band and other projects, but you also, in your spare time, you and Eric have been building a studio in St. Paul, right?
Yeah, crazy.
And is that ready yet for people to record in? What's the situation?
Yeah, well, it's kind of one of those things. I think it's similar to when you first become a homeowner. It's like you're never fully ready, you're never fully unpacked, but you just kind of start living your life. So the studio is fully functioning and it sounds great. Like these rooms, listening back to tracks, has been sounding really exciting. A big upgrade from our basement studio that we've been in for the last 10 years. So yeah, we've been working in the studio since August, but there are just these little things like we've kind of become quasi construction workers through this process, and while also doing everything else in our lives. So there's still just little things like we need to put up window trim and, kind of clean up some of the rough edges before we will do like an official party or soft opening, so to speak. But yeah, we're booking. We've actually been pretty busy with clients recording their new masterpieces in there. So
Well,
Awesome.
yeah.
and based on what you've said, we also know you have plenty of gear, all kinds of weird pedals and effects. So if you're
What's
I'm-
ours is yours. We share all the instruments and gear with you at the studio.
And
for
is your
sure.
website the best place to learn more about this, or is there somewhere else we want to direct people?
We're like, this is how new it is. We just finalized the logo design today and we're working on building the website. So the studio will officially be called Iron Bull Records.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
But the website isn't even developed. We're just social media. Basically, we've kind of been showing people the build, and I just created an Instagram account the other day. So now I at least have a place that I can like start putting things. But yeah, we're that new. So get in touch with either Eric Martin or me if you feel like you want to
Yeah.
dip your toes in the recording waters. Yeah.
Well, and we'll for
Excellent.
sure put links in the show notes once the website is up and running,
Yes,
and we'll
cool.
get links to the social media channels and all of that stuff. But I got to say, having nice gear and studios are great, but I mean, what we're hearing today sounds like it could have been recorded in, $1 million studio. And I
Well,
think
this record was recorded at the Terrarium,
Oh.
so it was recorded in $1 million studio. So
But what I
There you go.
wanted to say though is it's a testament to the ears behind the desk, and the ears that are setting up the microphones and all of those things. So
totally.
so if you like what you're hearing today, you're certainly going to like what's coming out of the new studio, and maybe your music could be produced there too.
Exactly. Go to JillianRaeMusic.com or follow her on all the socials to find all that stuff. And Eric did chime in to say, we were asking
my
how many
God.
tracks were on just like on that last track. And he said for the album, 70 plus tracks on each of these Heartbeat album songs.
But babe, what about the Silence, the newest single? How many
I-
tracks went into that is what we were wondering.
It's probably more than
It's
that.
more. It's
Because if it's
definitely
70 plus
more.
tracks just for Heartbeat, then
I know. That's the thing. I didn't really realize I'm a producer until I started doing my own stuff. And it's just, when you have the clear visions and it's like, no, we need more layers. We need more of this. It really adds up fast when you're making this kind of record. And then, the Corpse Reviver stuff that I do, it's literally just the three of us playing our instruments and two of us singing, usually not even at the same time. So then it's, like the bare bones can be really cool too. It just depends on what you're after,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's spoken like a true studio person to say, it depends on what you're after.
Nerd.
'cause
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
I feel
that's
like
what you
that's
got.
been a theme here today, actually, Jillian, is like whether you're envisioning a song via a music video or re-envisioning the music through effects pedals or the different layers of tracks. Like, I think it's really kind of interesting how, the art might start as a great song, but it can take so many different directions. And I think that's a whole nother kind of skill set that people need to navigate. And it's just been fascinating hearing your perspective on, visualizing a song before it's written and picking effects pedals. So thanks so much for sharing all of that insight with us today.
So much fun.
Yeah, super cool.
The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by EFS Publicity. Founded by veteran publicist, promoter, DJ, and musician Ellen Stanley, EFS brings an artist's perspective to the table, working to help clients get to the next level in their career. Services include national and international media campaigns, radio promotions, tour press, crowdfunding, grant writing, and more. Get a quote or set up a consultation today at EFSpublicity.com.
So much fun.
Yeah, super cool. And Eric says he's trying to figure out how many tracks are on this new
We are
single
both
Silence.
the biggest nerds. It's like there's no hiding it.
Really, I would say your assignment should be, if you're a Back Catalog Listening Party listener and a music geek, as we all are, why don't you listen to Jillian Rae's Silence? You could try and figure out how many tracks are
It's
on
like
that.
guessing how many gumballs are in the gumball machine.
It's like you should just
Try to
throw out a
guess,
number.
and then we'll have Eric actually look, and we'll confirm how many it was.
I think this should be a game show thing happening.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, speaking of music nerds, we have the
of which.
best music nerds that support this show every week. And we're getting kind of towards the end of the hour. So I want to make sure that we give a big shout out to all of our fellow music nerds and aficionados. And that would be our Patreon community. When Ellen and I started the show back in 2020, just 16 weeks before Jillian's first appeared on the show. I looked back, it was episode 16. And so if you want to check back and watch that episode, it was great. These folks were listening in, like a lot of people were at that time. But after the world opened back up and people went to see music, these people said, you know what, we still love meeting here on the internet and listening to music together with our nice headphones or speakers and talking about songwriting and recording and geeking out about arrangements and production and all of those things. And we are so blessed to have all of you part of our community. So we want to give a big shout out now to all of our supporters: Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, the Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Nikki, Joni, David, CJ, Wiley, Stephanie, Christy, Diane, Hetty, Sandy, and our newest patron, who is my neighbor, and we put her in this as neighbor Ann. I don't know if she's listening now, but I can see her right out my window. Thanks, Ann, and thanks all of our Patreon supporters for all that you do. You help keep the lights on here at the Back Catalog Listening Party, so we can afford to do the streaming and the Zooming and all the post production for the podcast. So thank you so much. If you're out there listening and want to join this community, we have this Patreon set up where you get exclusive backstage pass to actually come to these live tapings, which is really cool. But we also have after parties and VIP concerts, which Jillian has been a part of back many years ago now. Awesome. And we would just love to have you as part of our community. So you can find out more at patreon.com/Back Catalog Listening Party.
And we would love to see you join our community there. But mainly, thanks for listening. Thanks to Jillian for joining us. We're going to play one more song before we head out today, because we wanted to get to this track, because this is my favorite track on the record, Jillian. Hard to pick, but this one might be the highest rotation of any of the tracks. So if you see a bump in your streaming on this track, it's probably me.
Thanks, buddy.
Is there anything you want to say about this before we go out with the song?
Man, I think this song was in me for a long time before it came out. And it just, like when I finally started writing it, it was one of those rare moments where I just like wrote the whole thing in one go. And I knew exactly what I wanted it to sound like. And I still, even after all these years, this song is on the end of most of my live show sets, or it's an encore. Like it feels fun to play for people. So
nice.
Yeah.
The perfect way to end this hour. With Jillian Rae. This is Chains here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I'm lying here in these chains.
Yeah, definitely. That's a show closer right there, folks.
Right.
Jillian Rae showing us how it's done. That is Chains from her debut album. Hard to believe because it sounds so pro. 2013, that came out. You can get the 10th anniversary vinyl version. You can get CD copies, high res digital files. Get it in its full glory at JillianRaeMusic.com, along with all her other albums. And Chris had chimed in saying, still enjoying Wanderlust from when he heard you earlier on the show in
Thank
2020.
you.
Thank you for joining us and sharing these songs today, Jillian. Sounds fantastic.
Oh, this was a blast. Thanks for having me.
It was a wonderful hour, and we want to thank everybody who tuned in and chimed in. It's a party because of you, so thank you so much. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. This podcast will be available on all the platforms, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere. And every review and rating goes a long way to help other people find Jillian and all the independent artists that we feature on this show.
That's right. And in the meanwhile, keep enjoying the music. Check out Jillian Rae's new single and video, Silence. And but don't stay silent about Jillian Rae's music. Check it out. Go see a show.
Not the word, please.
And thank you so much, Jillian, for joining us. It's been such a treat.
Total pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Till next week.
Thanks for joining us on the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review, which helps more people discover our show and our guests.
And do you want to be a part of the live show, get a first look at upcoming guests, and receive invites to private online parties and live streams? Then join our Patreon community at backcataloglisteningparty.com.
Have a great week. We'll see you back here next Friday for another edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party.